Hey guys, welcome to week 2. For this week, Mike and Tammy are coming in on Tuesday to talk about the requirements for the project. So for work-wise, there really won't be anything posted. I will post a video on how to use the boards, the Azure DevOps boards. Talk a little bit about the pull and push requests on GitHub. And and then after Tuesday, probably say Wednesday, I'll start getting some items posted into backlog. So I have to do a video on that and show you guys how that works. So a lot of stuff this week for upcoming week 2 will just kind of be getting adjusted to the environment, start identifying things that we want to start working on. If you look in the video, in Element, I had posted a link for getting familiar with Bootstrap, which is one of the requirements that they want to be able to do is pull up the website on their phone, so it looks like it kind of condenses it down. If you're not familiar with that, go to my website, jeffreyjseaman.com, and pull it up on your phone and you'll see how it kind of condenses down. So I just used the Bootstrap library. So that'll be something that we want to think about. They did send me over the requirements. We went back and forth a little bit as I had some questions. So the session on Tuesday will not be recorded, but like I said, I have a live link for you. So I would like it if you could at least join via Teams if you're not able to make it in person, which is not a requirement, just to kind of hear what they have to say a little bit. It won't be that long, but I think it'll be interesting just to have that face-to-face with Mike and Tammy, understand what they're looking to do. They could tell you challenges that they've experienced and so forth. But the stuff that they requested to me is not super complicated, and that's what we want to keep it at. The other thing is, so some of the things leading into it early on in the requirements, I'm thinking we're going to need a login authentication piece. So we'll need a web page for that. We'll need to authenticate against something. I'm going to actually help you guys out with that. So hopefully you guys don't mind me helping. The other thing that we need to think about is, so another thing I was thinking about, so just, start thinking about it is, in order for us to, save the data off. So let's say that a new order comes in, they put a new order, they save and whatever, it saves it to the database. Instead of using straight SQL in the code, which is I would say not the safest thing. We understand SQL at this point. What I would like us to do is use APIs. So this is what I'm thinking we could do is we'll create we'll create a separate repository for just the APIs. So what I'm thinking is, and I'm just thinking out loud, we have a separate repository for the APIs, and that one we'll build that one to do Node.js. So it'll run in Node.js, and it'll be the getters. So it'll be the API that we call, which will be an endpoint, a URL that we call, that we'll make that call, and that API will be how we get our data back. So for example, let's say that we want to save something, thinking out loud, we want to save something, we want to get something, whatever the case is, we'll call that API and save it, and then that service will always be running. And I was thinking that we use for that one is, I can't remember the name of the database. It's a NoSQL database, Postgres. Look that up, Postgres. I think that's how it's spelled. Postgres. Let me double check. I'll put my glasses over that. It's actually Postgre SQL. It has an elephant on it. I think that's what we want to use for our database environment. It's pretty simple to use. It's a non-structured environment, but it allows us to query the data, and it's lightweight and it's fast. So look that up. I'll post it in the Element as well. I think that would be helpful. And then that way, when we write our code and write to the API, we call the endpoint within our regular source code repository, and that endpoint will be the one that's running constantly. So think of it as a service or an agent, whatever. So these are things I'm thinking out loud about, how we should do that. But those of you who take an advanced programming class, you remember working with APIs, so you have some familiar with that, and so you could be helpful for the 262 students who haven't got to that point yet. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll create I'll start probably tomorrow. We're off tomorrow, but tomorrow I'll probably start going through and creating something called a backlog, and that's just a list, a bunch of tasks that we have to do, and they're called user stories. And within the user story, we have tasks. And so, like for example, user story 1 might be let's think, let's say develop invoice, or not invoice, we'll say develop customer page. Okay, so user stories, develop customer page, but within that customer page, we might have a task that says create a button. We might have a task that says link to the CSS. We might have a task that says need to add fields, etc. So those are things that we want to think about. I don't know who in this group is good with CSS, so that is a person that we want to lean on to help develop the CSS aspect of it. So how's the page going to look? That's completely up to you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have right now. I'll push these links that I talked about, or at least these subjects. So as for week 2, tonight or tomorrow morning when you see stuff, the only thing you'll see is a summary. And as for assignments, you'll see the element that you posted for the daily stand-up. So good job on that. And just look for some videos, at least by Tuesday, Wednesday, probably tomorrow sometime, going through this stuff, because what I need to do is I need to modify the Azure DevOps board and see how I could create some, not tasks, but some processes. Like right now, we need a process that says in progress, so that we can at least see who's working on what and so forth. And I'll show you guys how to use that. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Element is definitely highly area to reach out to me. All right, guys, thanks and welcome to week 2. I hope to see you on Tuesday when Mike and Tammy come in. Session is supposed to start around 6, but some students may be late, so we'll have it up and running at 6 anyways. All right, guys, thanks. Have a good week. Be safe.